Hey friends, I hope you're doing so well today. I'm reacting to a video today and it's a very important video to me. At least I remember when I made it, it was really terrifying for me to speak about the things I was speaking about then. And that is my video called What is Femininity to Me? And it's a little bit about myself and my story from what I remember. I haven't watched this video since I made it. Gosh, how many years ago? The year 2020? People were having a lot of revelations about themselves during 2020 because they were just home. They had a lot more extra time, a lot of space to really consider what was important to them as certain aspects of their life were stripped away. Me as well. I was also home all the time during that year and also the following year, and also most of the year before that. That was connected to a lot of things that I was in the midst of relationally and situationally. I ended up making this video and YouTube was my little creative bubble where I felt like I could speak for the most part and where I could use my voice. And so this was one of the videos that I made during that time, and I haven't seen it since then, and so I'm going to be watching it and responding to some of the things that I've said, and we're going to see if anything has changed or has stayed the same since then. And this is also a response to some of you who requested that I follow through with my idea that I would react to this video from the previous video that I made about dressing more feminine as a flamboyant gamine. Just because of some of the stereotypes that surround being a flamboyant gamine, I think it's important to talk about the connection between femininity and some of those stereotypes. And so definitely check out that video if you haven't seen it yet. It's a pretty good one, I would say, but I'm biased. So you go watch, you tell me, okay? But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and jump into it, as the people on the internet say. I'm just gonna jump right into it, you know? Let's go ahead and get started because I know I can be long-winded because I have a lot to say. So let's do it. I am already so nervous. I don't remember anything that I've said, so here we go.
Hey you guys, hope you're doing well today. I'm sitting on my couch today because I just needed a little extra comfort. So I find it hard to make this video today, considering all that's going on in the world. But I'm gonna try anyway because it's important for me to keep showing up, as I say all the time. That said, let's talk about femininity. I'm going to primarily be speaking from my experience as a woman. I want to give you a little background where my training comes from, and when I say training, basically I mean like family of origin, environment I grew up in. That programmed me basically to think a certain way before I could really have a way to abstract or consider the perspectives and experiences of people who were not myself or in my family. There are a lot of things that were off limits for me as a girl growing up, as a woman now even sometimes, that I still have to mentally break out of. And there were a lot of messages given to me about what feminine looks like and what women should look like and should say or not say or wear or not wear. The list goes on. So this video is not going to be completely lighthearted. I'm not particularly feeling lighthearted right now. Let me talk a little bit. I have my notes on my phone.
Good for
here,
you.
so if I keep looking down, that's why. A little bit more about my personal relationship with femininity. And then I'll also get into what I think about it now. Then at the end of the video, of course, I want to show you some examples for flamboyant gamines. Of course, I'm thinking of you guys, about how to add femininity to your wardrobe. But anyway, I think it'll all come together and you'll get where I'm coming from by the end of this video, so keep on watching. Bear with me. So I guess when I started developing into a woman,
I'm gonna skip the ad. Sorry, Fran.
There's gonna be a lot of finger quotes in this. My body didn't look the way I expected it to look.
Okay, I do want to pause here because I had mentioned initially like a bit of my background, and even then I was really scared to call out or speak very clearly about what that background was. The background that I'm speaking about, the environments that shaped me, that was the evangelical church. I was terrified to say that. I would talk about how I grew up in a conservative environment. I would do a lot of that kind of almost coded language to kind of shield what other people would think of me, or to shield myself from like what my ex would think, or his family, or what, if any of my family were to see this video. Like, I didn't want anyone to feel uncomfortable. I was so scared in this video. You can really feel it. Like, even the contrast between me speaking to you now and me speaking in this video, like the amount of strength that I have to talk about my actual reality is like exponentially more than it was in this moment. Young Fran, you know, how old was I? 24-year-old Fran, I love you so much. This was so brave of you, and I am so proud of you for doing this. So the first thing right off the bat, I start talking about my body and my internalized misogyny, actually. So let's get back into that.
I was inundated with ideas of women being soft, curvy, well endowed, being only like a romantic type, basically. If you know Kibbe language, which a lot of you do. More feminine hair was like long and wavy and not really what I was given genetically. In all regards, like none of my genetics that I received lined up with my idea of what a woman should look like. And so that can lead to feeling a little bit distraught as a teen, as you're starting to form your identity and explore your sexual identity, your gender identity. Feminine clothes.
Okay. This right here, this is me touching on my internalized misogyny, the male gaze, what I thought men wanted women to be. And then I immediately connect that with being a teenager and exploring your sexual identity and your gender identity. Now, I've never had a problem being a woman. I've never wished away my like femaleness. Like, I have not felt the dissonance between my spirit and my body. So when I express like myself as a woman, like I'm a cis woman. So I experienced life and I was conditioned socially to be perceived that way and to be molded that way, like mentally. But yeah, the sexual identity stuff, that's fun because, you know, recently, and should I do this in this video? I'm gonna. You know what? It's time. It's freaking time. I recently realized, and by recently, it was this year in this video, 2020, it was like September of 2020 that I came to terms with the fact that I am attracted to women. And it's easy to say queer, but also lesbian is comfy. Let's freaking go. I said it. You guys, I take delight in that aspect of myself. I had just started being honest with myself during this season where I filmed this video, and I started being honest with the people in my environment. And this past January, I got to be honest with my family. Like, my parents know. You know, I've told my Patreon community, they know. And like, now you guys get to know. So when I'm talking about this, and I'm seeing myself now, and I'm watching myself then, little timid, scared Fran, I just would love to just give her the biggest hug and tell her that you're not always going to have to speak in code. You're not always going to have to be vague. One day you'll get to just be everything that you are, and you'll get to love whoever you want to love. And I have. And I do. Let's get back in the video.
Clothes meant dresses, skirts, long skirts, mid-length skirts, denim skirts. Oh my god. Very, very frilly, girly sorts of things. You wear pink, you wear purple, you wear, floral patterns. Sounds like it's about to storm. Don't draw too much attention to yourself. There is a very clear line.
Ooh, don't draw too much attention to yourself. Huge thing that I am still processing in therapy. But that's like a really deeply rooted fear. Like, what happens if people actually see me for who I am? What happens if people actually perceive my body as beautiful? Still unpacking all of that because I'm still scared to see myself that way sometimes. So let alone like imagining someone else perceiving me with kindness or without malintent. Gee whiz.
Between what a girl should be and what a boy should be. Enter me. I'll put my picture here.
Yeah.
Young Fran.
Sorry,
started off
Fran.
very lanky, very scrawny child.
Oh, baby.
You can see in this particular photo how disproportionate I was, and most children are. Some of us, unfortunately, don't get to grow out of that. And I find that it's beautiful now, but I mean, obviously growing up, you might not feel that way, especially if it's not reinforced to you that specific things about your body are beautiful, but that's okay. Like I said, this is not an easy topic. So thank you for hearing my story. Then I hit around 8 years old, and my body started kind of gaining weight, and I started getting a little bit puffy here and there. My cheeks were really puffy, my belly was very round, and I just started to grow. That was when, you'll never guess who's calling me right now. I love you.
Love you.
I'll see you later. Bye. How funny. Anyway, I was talking about being a puffy kind of prepubescent child. What I thought about myself then. So it's like you're watching yourself go through all of these changes, and during certain seasons of your life, they stick with you. And sometimes you can't break through from that. That's for another video. That'll be a different video about self-perception that I'm going to do. I'm sorry, I keep itching my face. Shortly after being a very puffy child, I turned into a very lanky, scrawny teenager. And that's been my fate ever since.
Oh, pause. Look at this photo. Look at this photo of me. This was me in high school. I was a sophomore that year, and this was my my Louis Tomlinson inspired outfit. I loved the striped top with the colored pants and the white, shoes. I thought that was so fun. And it was inspired by Louis from One Direction, because I loved One Direction back then. And this gets into me thinking about, why did I love boy bands so much? Because I rarely found the guys from the bands very attractive. I would pretend. There were a lot of things that I would do that was just compulsory heterosexuality. And when I learned about that, that just blew up my mind. So much so that I ended up writing a song immediately about that particular topic, which I've never shared with anyone. It's just a voice memo on my phone. But how I loved boy bands because they sang about women, and so I would sing about women. Ding! But anyway, look at me. I was obsessed. I was carrying a Bible. This was a challenge that was presented probably in my youth group, where if you're really unashamed to be a Christian, then keep your Bible out with you all the time, and always have your Bible with you and put it out on your desk. And really, it's had nothing to do with actually following God or loving people or caring for creation and yourself and all the things that my spirituality has evolved into now. It had everything to do with Bible as idolatry, basically. But anyway, this is probably going to ruffle some feathers. This is what she was scared of. This is what this version of me was terrified of, me being perceived as hateful or angry, when the reality is I'm neither of those things. I am just growing, and I'm more conscious of some of the ways that my upbringing affected me and the ways that I need to heal in order to release some of the anger that I have and to release some of the resentment that I have, so that there is more space in me and more room in me for kindness and self-love, but also love for other people and the people who have hurt me. So, whew, that's a whole thing. Anyway, let's keep going.
Like, hello, here I am. I'm letting you see my bones today. So basically,
Proud of you.
my little
Look at
puffy,
her.
prepubescent self melted into this skeleton teen, it felt like, with delicate bones, like, you can see them still, or like lanky arms, as I've described in the past, and maybe this is resonating with some of you, this story. But I really had an inability to put on any weight. So as my body was changing rapidly and my perception of myself was also changing, the people around me weren't super helpful either. They would always ask me, like, do you even eat? Or you look unwell, you look sick, you don't look healthy. It starts to add up. I personally felt like I was not very feminine. Like, I did my best to achieve a look that I thought was feminine. I would wear push-up bras. I would wear really skin-tight clothes that weren't particularly approved of. Like, I remember.
So in this part of the video, I'm talking a lot about being a skinny teenager and the people who would assume that I had an eating disorder. This was pretty much anyone who would come into contact with me. This was like older women. This was doctors. When I was 15, I was experiencing a lot of symptoms of anxiety and depression, and it went undiagnosed. It's still not diagnosed, but I'm able to care for myself a little bit better now that I've been through years of therapy. I was dealing with a lot of body dysmorphia during that time. I was dealing with panic attacks, intense paranoia during that time as well. The way that I tried to force myself to be perceived the way that I thought other people wanted a woman to be perceived. And this is shaped by the media, of course. This was shaped by, I think, conversations that I've heard men have. And since growing up in the church, it was assumed that you would marry a man, and I did. It was assumed that you care about attracting men, but not so much that you would cause them to stumble in their faith by being too attractive. And it was always this push-pull between how feminine are you allowed to be without causing harm to other people. And it's this psychologically damaging system. It suppressed the femininity that was trying to blossom within me and my personal expression of femininity. It was suffocating that. Back then I was straightening my hair and I wanted long flowing hair and I wanted to have, a big chest, and I wore push-up bras, and I was like really contorting myself into shapes that my body didn't want to rest in. So I was panicking all the time. I was ill. I was diseased. Also, versions of femininity that I did not resonate with, which in a lot of cases was informed by seeing, white women and not seeing myself and trying to make myself fit into that beauty standard. You wear the, soft classic lines as a woman in the church, and, you're playful and you're a little bit flirty, and then you're, withdrawn and subdued. And it's just this game that was all for attracting men, which I really didn't want to do anyway at that age, which again was praised because it was seen as, Fran is so pure. She's not even trying to seduce men. She doesn't even, she's like so reserved and she's so deep in her studies and she's so mature and all of this sort of stuff. I was just a little repressed gay. They were like, yeah, go Fran, you don't even care. You're not even boy crazy, way to go. We're proud of you. And it's like, well, there's probably reasons for that. And things that I realized when I was 15, and a lot of the pictures that I show here in this video were around that age where I was discovering an attraction to women that I was not allowed to have. And so that was getting suppressed. And that year, I could talk about that year for a long, long time, but I don't have enough time on this video for that. We still have to finish this. So let's keep going.
To get skinny jeans because they would have shown my form. All these sorts of things. I kept my hair long and wavy and cascading, and I wore, lots of makeup and all that sort of stuff, just trying to feel more feminine.
Trying to perform femininity. That's what I was doing.
It's been about 10 years now since I solidified into the shape that I am now. Like, this is just my body. I'm realizing as I'm an adult. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm not unwell physically. This is what I've been given. This is my body.
Yep.
This is okay.
This is
too.
okay.
Like, this isn't
She's talking to
something
herself.
that I should be ashamed of. This isn't something that I should try to change. Instead, maybe it's time that I just pay attention to her and listen to what she might have to say to me about what she thinks, you know? Which is a whole other thing. I'm learning more and more to
I'm like holding myself.
Love my body and not wish that it was more curvy or wish that I had more fleshiness. I kind of realized that doesn't matter how much I seek after like physical health, like eating well, exercising, paying attention to my mental health, like all of that sort of stuff would not make me more curvy. And it would not make my bones less lanky. It wouldn't change my physical structure, my bone structure.
Yes.
My genetic makeup. And so there comes a point where you have to just say, like, body, I love you.
Body, I love you.
Whatever you are, however you show up, I love you. And it's not easy and it's an everyday sort of thing.
Sure
the question remains, of course, like, what does it mean to be feminine to me? What does it mean to dress in a way that's feminine?
Oh,
so
let's find out.
To me, femininity is an energy. Similarly to masculinity, like there's an energy that is masculine. It exists in everyone. I think it's flexible.
Yes.
I think it's fluid.
Yes. Yes!
And this is
Don't come at me.
my experience with it. So, for example, like some days I feel more receptive. I feel more drawn to beauty, more intuitive, more wild, more grounded, more sure. Those are the days that I feel feminine. Those are the days I'm the most creative, the most inquisitive, the most clever.
Yes.
My masculine energy emerges when I'm self-disciplined, when I'm focused,
I like her.
when I'm creating a habit or maybe setting a boundary. It shows up when I'm speaking my mind, when I'm pushing past fear and being courageous, when I'm being bold, when I'm dedicated to nurturing myself. Like, that feels masculine to me. And so, obviously, like, these sorts of things can happen at the same time. They can happen separately. It's a blend and it's a mixture. And I think both of these energies obviously exist in me. And I kind of flow in and out of them, or they combine and help me exist and show up as I am. Yeah. So, of course, let's talk about clothes, right? Dressing in a certain way can make me feel more connected to these energies. And I feel most like myself when I have a mixture of both. Dun, 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 dun. And maybe that's what Kibby is trying to get at all along. So for me, at the end of the day, like, femininity is a feeling. And there are many ways that I can feel feminine. And they rarely have to do with what clothing is on my body. It has a lot more to do with my sense of self. And so no matter what I'm wearing, like, even if I'm wearing the most masculine, yang-leaning kind of an outfit, I can still feel feminine. I don't have to be wearing lace or ruffles or something like with, you know, cleavage emphasis or whatever. Like, the point is that my clothes do not define whether or not I am feminine or masculine.
That's
if that makes sense. And it is thundering. Can you hear that? So if you're here for some practical advice, I want to give that to you, of course.
I got so much more when I started speaking about that at the end, like that final question of what is femininity, I got so comfortable. Like, I loosened up. Like, there's something in me that was like, this is what you're here to share. This is what you want to say. And you're saying it, and here you are, and you're going to be received. I'm so proud of her. I think that she's really spot on, little Fran. Like, I still do believe that in a lot of ways. I love the breakdown that I presented of masculine energy showing up in certain aspects of me and feminine energy showing up in certain aspects of me, and those being combined in order for me to feel the most comfortable or the most sure. How that overflows into fashion in a lot of cases. Since leaving my marriage, since feeling safe again, I've felt more feminine. I've felt more willing to wear things that might be perceived as feminine. This is something that I don't think I've touched on yet. I might have touched on it in the last video. Something that I've noticed about myself is that there are times where I just want to wear a dress, or I just want to be as close to naked as possible. What it really is, rather than a feeling of I'm wearing a dress, we'll say a dress. I'm wearing a dress in order to attract my partner. I look feminine in order to get this response from someone else. It's more like, I love this fabric. I feel like this reflects my mood today. I want to feel the sun on my skin, so I'm going to wear a backless dress. I don't feel like wearing pants. I'm gonna wear a skirt. You know, stuff like that propels some of my clothing choices these days, rather than, will my partner think I'm attractive today and then be kind to me because of that? It's a protective measure. It was, at least, to wear things that were oversized, to wear things that were more traditionally masculine. It was protective. It was, a lot of the time, will people perceive me as queer? It was like a dissonance that I was having between a newfound aspect of myself and the way that my relationship presented to the world. Like, the last thing that I wanted was for people to perceive me as straight, because I am not. Clothing can help with that, and especially if you're in a like straight presenting relationship, being able to express with your clothes that perhaps you are not straight, that was like the most fulfilling thing for me. It was when I found my trousers, it was when I started wearing my grandpa sandals, those sorts of things that made me feel like, okay, like it was a searching for community, because more than anything else during that time I wanted queer friends. I have so many now, which is really cool and really a gift to me. I was using clothes to those sorts of ends, and now I don't feel the need to like yell to the world like, hey you, I'm not straight. I don't feel the need to do that anymore. It's just part of the growth. So I do feel a little bit more freedom and a little bit more safety in expressing however I want and wearing whatever I want. And I think that's a beautiful and wholesome thing. I'm going to just end the video here. Thank you for being with me as I confess these things to you. Thank you for holding the space for me. Please be kind in the comments if you choose to comment. Please share your experiences if they are similar to mine and they resonate. Please share your experiences if they're different from mine, if you can do it in a way that is respectful. I love you all. I love young Fran. I think that she has grown so much, and she's me now. Like, thanks to this girl over here doing the most she could during the season that she was in. I'm so proud of her. Allowing herself to be brave even though she was terrified. I'm so proud of her. Woo! Anyway, I hope that you are taking care of yourself. I hope that you're having a beautiful day wherever you are. Make sure you eat. Make sure you drink water. If you have a pet, you know, snuggle them. If you have plants, water them. I will talk to you very soon. Make sure you subscribe if you want to. Love having you here. If you want to support me and my channel, I have lots of ways to do that. You can book a body typing consultation with me. You can support me on Patreon. You can share this video with people that you know who think would benefit from my ramblings. I will talk to you all very soon. I love you so, so much. Thank you for being with me. Hope you have a great week or weekend or whenever you're watching this video. And I will see you in the next one. Love you. Bye.